So we talk a lot about the candidate side, like
Mhm.
what they have to do to look to seek a new job. And but you said that you work with companies as well. And one
Yeah.
of the things that interesting to talk to is about like what is the best way for a company nowadays to attract the best talent. Sorry, so like what do the company needs to do
Mhm.
and to attract them, and what a company should do to differentiate themselves from the competitors. Because if you know like a big tech or like a huge company, you don't
Mhm.
have actually a name for yourself. So like what do you do to attract those talents?
Absolutely. And it's another great question, Lucas. So, first and foremost, a business needs to run an efficient recruitment process, right? So, what I mean by that is create a really good candidate experience. Um, and I'm a firm believer in if a candidate has two offers at the end of an interview process, they will choose the company that has given them the better candidate experience. Okay, so things
Mm-hmm.
like making sure that the interview panel have synced before the interview process kicks
Mm-hmm.
off. And what I mean by that is, that they're not asking the same questions of the candidate, because the candidate it can create a bad candidate experience if you keep asking the same question
I
over and
see.
over to the same candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And the candidates are taking note of this, right, as well. So this all affects the sort of end of the process of whether they will accept the role or not. I think the length of the process is really important, Lucas. So,
Mm.
I've talked to candidates and clients that have been sort of, 7, 8 stages in an interview process, right? Which, I understand sometimes in a company, they need to meet a certain amount of people, peers, and the leadership team and the HR team, etc. But what can happen is when a candidate isn't in a process like that, they can get down to the sixth, seventh, eighth interview, and they can be the perfect candidate for the role, but their
Mm.
motivation can go because they maybe don't understand the structure of the length of the process. It wasn't described to them in the right way at the beginning of the process, and that can come across in an interview. Body language and the tone of voice
Mm.
can can come across, and then they can make a decision on that candidate that they're not going to hire them because maybe their
Mm-hmm.
motivation is down. But it's actually because the length of the process is so long.
Mm.
Feedback is really important as well. So, when a candidate interviews, I would say within sort of 48 hours that candidate should receive feedback if it's positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think companies need to think about candidates who were good in interview, but they're not going to progress with them. But
Mm.
maybe we'll re-engage with that candidate in 6 months, a year's time, when they have more experience. That candidate will interview with that company based on their candidate experience 6 months or a year before.
I see.
Um, I think having a lot of touch points as well, as many touch points with the candidate as possible. So keeping up communication, keeping them in the loop all the time, no matter where it be email or a phone call, just to make sure that they know what's going on. If there's a delay in feedback, why is there a delay in feedback? Because if you don't get back to candidates in a timely manner, you can lose candidates at the end of the pipeline when they start getting offers from other companies who have a shorter interview timeline. So I'd say
Mm.
they're the main things that I think a company should be doing, um, and to kind of beat their competitors.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, cool. And